It's okay not to eat out every day. Like, it's okay not to be able to have enough money to go to spring break and miss this spring break because you saved up money and now you're in a better position next year. Because after 4 years, man, after you graduate and you're trying to come back, like, some of those people may not even be employed at the university anymore. So you in here majoring in wash your hands with soap and racking up all this credit card debt. Like, that's a problem, dude. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Since we can't get into too much of your time at UCLA because it was brief, let's go ahead and get into your company, man. Let me hear more about your company and what it offers. We'll start from there.
No, thank you so much. So a Frugal Athlete is essentially an online financial media platform that promotes prudent financial practices and smart career decisions amongst professional athletes and student athletes. So our mission is to help athletes make, manage, and multiply their money through financial education and athlete empowerment. But I wanted to create a platform where you come on my site every day, you're going to find a story, or you're going to find, something applicable to your life to use, to build financial freedom, to learn about personal finance, to create better money management skills, and go from there. And with that, we do some consulting, coaching, we do speaking engagements, workshops, just try to, help where we can and, change the narrative around athletes and leveraging their money and their career.
Hoop loudy. Yes, indeed. Big Brother Bill here to give you all that you want and what you need. Today I have a very special guest, someone who's played professionally, someone who's played at a major Division I school, but also have started a company that I feel like you'll be able to benefit from as it relates to financial literacy. The first time we've ever talked about financial literacy on this channel, so I am ecstatic just to be able to introduce this individual. Before we get started, man, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about your days of playing college ball.
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I'm Amobi Okugo, first generation Nigerian American, born and raised in California. I had the fortunate pleasure of, playing soccer at a high level at a young age, and that's what ultimately led me to play professional soccer. I went to UCLA, for my freshman year, and ended up getting drafted after my freshman year. So although my college period was short, I was able to learn a lot, and it was a great springboard and foundation for me to build out my professional career.
Yeah. Amobi, before we get into the actual business that you've been able to scale, I'm just interested in your journey from high school to actually playing for UCLA. I don't want to gloss over that. I mean, that's a major Division I school. A lot of the people that view this content would like to play Division I. How did you get recruited to UCLA in the beginning?
So for me, at a young age, I was playing, for the local competitive team. And then at the time we had the ODP team. And so you got the state ODP team, the regional ODP team. And then ultimately it will lead you to the youth national teams. So I was fortunate enough to make the youth national teams from U14.
Oh, wow.
All the way to playing or getting invited to the residency program. And the residency program is basically the top 40 youth national boys for the under 17 age group. You basically go to the IMG Academy. We're not part of IMG Academy or affiliated, but we use their facilities.
It sounded like that you were like the golden child, if you would. If you're already getting recruited by colleges, as a freshman, that's a big deal. Coming from me, I'm a JUCO kid, went to a Division II school, was not highly touted coming out of high school. The only reason I went to junior college is because, my high school coach had a relationship with my soon-to-be junior college coach, and that was my end. But I need you to kind of step out of yourself for a little bit and just kind of give us some tips about some individuals that you know of that weren't recruited as freshmen that early on, but still want to be able to play at the collegiate level. What kind of advice would you give those student athletes?
No, that's a great segment because, something my dad always tells me, there's many ways to the top of the mountain. So, you got so many different paths to, ultimately reach the goal or pinnacle of your career. So you don't get discouraged by, whether it's your teammate or someone else before you that, kind of had the easy route, because your path is your path. And the reason why you're on it is that you may not know it at the moment, but it's building you up for when you get to that point. Whereas, everything is never sweet. Not everyone's going to have, the ascension like LeBron James. And even LeBron James, he's had his battles, but if you know what I'm saying, not everyone's going to have just the easy road all the way through, for the rest of their career, right off into the sunset.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because though we know that your role is different from others going to a major Division I school and playing professionally, I know that you've had to go through your adversities as well. So kind of talk to us about that transition from high school to actually a major Division I school, and what were some pain points you had to experience, and how did you navigate through those things?
Yeah, so I mean, the main thing, so I was kind of fortunate with residency. I had to live on my own, but I had a bunch of roommates. But UCLA, it's not like you're dealing, UCLA, you're not dealing with your age mates anymore. You're dealing with seniors, juniors, even sophomores. And it's more in the sense of now it's everyone's trying to take your spot. Luckily, I had a taste of that, at residency at the young level. But at UCLA, you got guys that want to go pro. You got guys that want to, pursue their professional career. So it's kind of like, you're living on your own, so you have to be responsible. On top of that, you have school. So who's going to be disciplined enough to make sure they're not skipping classes, making sure they're on time for practice, making sure they're competing, making sure they're eating right, because no one's watching you, no one's, telling you what to eat. You have to, kind of follow your own guidelines. So how does all that play a role in you as a person? So fortunately, UCLA does a great job of trying to reinforce some of the principles you need to be an excellent student athlete. But at the end of the day, it's your decision and your decision only. So, when we go to the meals at cafeteria, yeah, I can go and get the, chicken salad and rice and stuff, or I can go to the other section and get the burger and fries. My coach is not going to be there to hold my hand, but how will it affect my play? How will it affect my sleep? How will it affect my recovery? So those decisions, that I had to make at UCLA made me all the better and more prepared for, my professional career.
Why is this even important to you? Why is it important to you for someone to be financially literate? And how do you feel like that helps student athletes in college?
So for me, I think it's all about leverage. As athletes, student athletes, professional athletes, you have a unique platform. You have a unique opportunity. It doesn't matter if you play for a year, 3 years, 10 years, 15 years. The amount of resources that are available to us, it's amazing. And it's not just from a money perspective. And then obviously, with the stats that, talk about how athletes, fall into bankruptcy, fall into financial duress within, 2-3 years of their retirement, and all these athletes go broke. I wanted to kind of flip the script, because there's a lot of athletes that are actually doing well, using the resources that they have. And, a lot of people think when I talk about frugal, it just means being cheap. And that's not the case. It's being efficient. Frugal is being efficient with your money, efficient with your time, efficient with your resources. And then how can you use that leverage to build, financial stability, financial freedom, leverage in, your next career, leverage in, how you navigate your power. So that's what it's all about. I was motivated because I saw the 30 for 30 Broke documentary, and that kind of changed my whole mindset around, how can we, while this documentary is cool, it talks about, what not to do. How can we show examples of people doing it the right way? I want to see a roadmap. I don't want to see, a scary tactic, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Did you come from a family that kind of promoted financial literacy? Because a lot of times people don't learn this later in life. So talk to us about your upbringing as far as being financially independent and just financially literate.
Yeah, so I got to thank my parents. They raised me, to understand, the importance of education, the importance of financial, literacy, and with that, it always piqued my interest, understanding business, marketing, finance, entrepreneurship, outside of just, as an athlete. My parents would always talk about the owners instead of the players. It's cool to play on the court, but you see who's in the front row, you see who's in the box seats. That's even better. So
yeah.
So when I had that mindset, and then it kind of just all came together after I saw the Broke documentary, I was like, kind of enough is enough.
Yeah. So in college, let's make this plain as far as college is concerned. What does that look like as a student athlete being financially literate? Can you give us some examples?
Yeah, so for college, it's unique because, sometimes you may be on a full ride scholarship. You may not be. So how do you maximize? How do you, manage, sometimes you get stipends, sometimes you're taken care of. If you're a freshman, you live on campus versus off campus. But so say you're a sophomore, junior, senior, you get stipends. So how do you ration that out? You want to live in the lavish, college college campus, college apartment, or do you want to, get a bunch of roommates and then, kind of make sure you have your stipend left over to, hopefully build out a little nest egg, or, start investing if you want to do it strategically. I think for me, for, you know, a college student athlete, I would say make sure you don't, obviously, you know, you have money coming to you, you want to buy a couple nice things, but I would say make sure you have a budget. Understand, you know, how much your stipend is or your scholarship compared to how much you're paying for. So what does gas look like? What does your, you know, your rent look like for your college dorm? What does the expenses look like? And then ration it out. So how much do you have left over? All right, I have this much left over. All right, now what do I want to do with it? All right, maybe a couple times a week I want to eat out. Maybe a couple times a week I want to, you know, be able to, you know, give something to my little siblings. But I always have a portion that I'm investing back in myself. So what does that look like? Whether it's putting it in a investment portfolio, whether it's, you know, saving it for a rainy day or emergency. You never know when you might be in an emergency. So understanding your budget first and foremost, I think that's very important. The next thing I would say is, you know, credit cards. You know, so a lot of credit card companies will come to college campuses and, you know, provide you with opportunities to get credit. Obviously, because they know you guys don't have money on hand or cash on hand. You know, having a credit card can help alleviate some, you know, issues when it comes to being able to pay for things. So before you even consider that, you have to know the implications behind a credit card. What kind of credit card you're getting, unsecured or secured? What's the interest rate? What's the APY versus the APR? Understanding all that, and then understanding how you're going to pay it off, because that's the most important thing when it comes to credit cards. A lot of college kids, they get these credit cards and then they graduate and they're like, wait, how much do I have to owe? Because they've been stacking and stacking and stacking money on this credit card without realizing that, you know, when you owe, you not only owe the money that you have to pay back, but there's interest to that. You know, interest works in both ways. Interest works when you save and invest in yourself, compound interest, but then when you owe somebody, it works in that way too. So understanding, you know, credit card and debt, I think that's a major thing. And then obviously, you know, when I talk about compound interest, it leads me to my next point, you know, starting early. So if you can save $10 a month, $5 a month, you know, $5 a week, $10 a week, $100 a month, that all adds up. Mm-hmm. You may not feel it like from semester to semester, but over the course of 4 years, over the course of 3 years, you know, even the course of 3 months, like myself, it all adds up, and compound interest is your best friend if you use it the correct way. So yeah, those are three things I would, you know, talk about like right off the bat when it comes to, you know, the financial aspect of a college athlete.
Yeah, you said a lot there, man. There's a whole lot there.
My apologies.
No, you're good. You're good. You said a lot. I was trying to write down in my head so I could go back on some of the things you said. But what you said earlier had everything to do with kind of like knowing your numbers. I say that a lot on the channel, is knowing your numbers, because, you know, when you're on a college campus and everything is being provided for you, it's easy to walk in there like with rose-colored glasses and not know what's going on. But like you said, to be able to build a budget, you got to know how much your scholarship covers. You got to know about some of these numbers and not feel silly to ask these questions, because everyone doesn't know this stuff. I think whether it be banks and coming in for credit cards or whatnot, or whether it be Pell Grants and things like that, if you don't know how that stuff works, then you're really at a loss moving forward.
No, yeah, I love that you said that. You know, ask questions, because there's no dumb question when it comes to your money, your career. Yeah. Make sure if someone's working with you, they can explain it in layman's terms. I feel like my mantra is, if I can't explain it to somebody else, that means I don't know enough about it. So yeah, when it comes to understanding topics that you need to understand, make sure that you're able to explain it to somebody else. So ask any question that you do, and if they aren't willing to answer that for you, then that means you shouldn't be working with them. Sure,
absolutely. One of my examples I use is like you go into a restaurant, right? You go to a restaurant is because of a recommendation. The restaurant is a university, okay? And they're telling you all the great things you should be picking to eat, right? And they're giving you all these suggestions. But at the end of the day, no matter how nice, kind-hearted these people are, at the end of the day, you're going to be footing the bill at the end of the day, right? So that means that means your major. That means actually, you know, whether it be finances, all that stuff, they can give you recommendation. But let's not get this twisted. You are going to be the person that's signing that receipt and slide your debit card at the end of the day. So you need to make sure you're mindful of that. Because after 4 years, man, after you graduate, and you're trying to come back, like some of those people may not even be employed at the university anymore. So you in here majoring in wash your hands with soap and racking up all this credit card debt. Like that's a problem, dude. That's a problem.
Exactly. I love that analogy that you use. I'm definitely gonna, you know, try to apply that to, you know, some of my teachings.
Yeah, man. Another thing, man, so much of this financial literacy, and I'm learning this stuff late. I wish I had parents. I mean, I had great parents. I have great parents, but they didn't educate me financially on things that I needed to learn. I just got my first credit card like 2 weeks ago. Like because I was on this whole Dave Ramsey deal.
That's low key good though. That's low key good.
Yeah, but like I was on this whole Dave Ramsey deal about like if you can't pay for it twice, then don't do it. And I did that for a while, but I was being denied a lot of times on different things because they said I didn't have enough credit and I couldn't get a rental car. And when I did, I had to use my own debit card and I had to take an extra $200 or $300 off and kind of hold it, and then they give it back to me. It was just a mess. But I think there's a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure when I was a student athlete. I'm sure when you were a student athlete of trying to do and ball out like everyone else is, and not understanding that it's okay not to eat out every day. Like it's okay not to be able to have enough money to go to spring break and miss this spring break because you saved up money and now you're in a better position next year. Can you talk a little bit about that? The discipline behind being financially responsible?
Yeah. So with the Frugal Athlete, we always try to translate, financial principles to sports. So for example, like growing up, if you're a high level elite talent, you're missing birthdays, you're missing, proms, you're missing dances, you're missing all that stuff to ultimately help you perform at the highest level, whether it's through practices, through games, through tournaments. So why not apply those same principles to saving and investing and, being disciplined about your budget? Long term, it's going to help you more than you know. So yeah, I can go and like maybe skip that game to go to that party because, I want to have fun with my friends. Or I can make sure I get that extra hour of working to ultimately help me go pro. The same when it comes to finances. Yeah, I can go out to eat, or I could save that money. Obviously, within reason. I'm not trying to say, eat rice and beans, Dave Ramsey every day, but obviously within reason. Like, yeah, those shoes like definitely look nice, but we already get free shoes from the team. Why not I rock those out and then I use this money to invest or build out my fund, because I don't know if I'm going to go pro. I want to be able to have a cushion so when I graduate, before I find my next thing, I have some spending money that I can use for whatever I may need. So these little sacrifices add up over time, and these little, like I said before, $10 here, $5 here, $100 there. Those moments of discipline will help you in the long run. And if we can be disciplined in sports, getting up every day to work out and do all this stuff, we can be disciplined in our daily life, whether it's doing homework, whether it's, investing, whether it's, being properly, smart about our money. Yeah. We can do all those things.
I definitely appreciate, man, you being able to carve out time to meet with me today and bestow some wisdom as far as financial literacy. I think it's a big deal, man. I feel like a lot of people, they just kind of bury their head in the sand about financial literacy until it's too late. And then afterwards you think to yourself, man, I should have really paid attention, or I probably shouldn't have took out that loan just to go to spring break. I probably could have done without that. But you see people doing that. And then, the culture in college, man, and I don't want to out anybody because I know some of my friends who watch my YouTube videos, man, but some of these guys, man, they blow every Pell check. Like a day after they get the Pell check, it's a wrap. So hopefully this video kind of helps bring some truth to light from that standpoint. But before I let you go, man, I just want to go ahead and give you the opportunity to leave us with a last quote or a bit of wisdom before you leave. And yeah, just see us out of here.
No, thank you so much for having me. I know we're going to connect further down the road. Last thing I would like to say is that it's the intelligent thing to be frugal. I know we talked about, different things in terms of, career, money, and all that. And the important thing is to, stay in your own lane, figure out what works for you. But it's the intelligent thing to be frugal. And I remind you, frugal is not cheap. It's being efficient, resourceful, and prudent in how you allocate your money and how you allocate your time and career. And whatever you do, make sure you graduate at the top of your class. Hoop Lottie.